What's going on, everyone? So we finally got a break in the weather. It's gonna be like, they're saying like 50 degrees today or something like that. Right now it's like 30s, low 40s. I didn't even look, but it's really nice out. So I took this opportunity today to install, yep, probably already said it in the title and the thumbnail, but I'm gonna be installing my airbag system today. Hopefully we'll get to the compressor as well today. I don't see why not. This should be pretty simple. We don't have to take too much off. We just have to take the bump stops off. Is that my buddy? Where are you? There you are. Bye. That's not my buddy. So I had the truck up on ramps. I took my hitch out because I knew I would probably be hitting my head a bunch. And I took out the spare tire, which will help a lot, which I don't think you can do this without taking the spare tire not out, so you'll have to take it out anyways. And I was fighting with it because when I bought this truck, it had a lock on the spare tire, but thankfully it came with a key, and I was like, awesome, sweet. Well, got corroded, and it took me a while to finally get the key to turn, and I kind of broke the key head off. So this will probably just be coming off completely now, because I don't see anyone stealing my spare tire. But now that I say that, who knows? But first thing we gotta do is take the bump stops off, because these are going to be, well, the airbags are going to be replacing the bump stops in the location. So I have that soaking in penetrating oil. That shouldn't be too bad, so we'll just pop those off and take off this heat shield as well, so we can maneuver in there, because it'll be a pain to try and maneuver around this. So let me go get these bump stops off, and we're gonna start on the passenger side, installing the brackets and everything here. So next time you see me, we're gonna start putting the brackets in. Oh look, I made a mess, like usual. Anyways, so I started assembly on the airbags. I got the bracket and the plate and the connection for the air hose all tightened up and buttoned up on the two airbags. Yes, I did use Loctite because, well, I've had issues with not using Loctite in the past, so I've learned my lesson. We have the bump stops removed from both passenger and driver side. Whoop, that was sunlight. There they are right there and right over there. So the next thing we gotta do is put these brackets in on the driver and passenger side. I'm gonna just do, well, I'll do both sides anyways while I'm down there. Use these bun head Allen bolts and a single flat washer. I'm gonna use some Loctite, just some blue Loctite, and then it says to tighten it down to 38 foot-pounds, or pound-foot. I always say foot-pounds. I don't know. What do you guys say, pound-foot or foot-pounds? So I'm gonna go tighten those down really quick, and we'll start throwing the airbags underneath the truck. So I'll be right back with you guys. So as you can see, I got the plates all mounted up, and they are directional. By directional, I mean they are marked right and left, and I think this one's the right one. It goes on the passenger side. Reason being, at first I thought they were damaged because this one piece is bent downward. Nope, it's because the frame starts to bend down right here. So they pre-bend the brackets to fit either side. You can see that one's bent down as well. Got it torqued down. Now the next thing we got to do is throw the airbag in its place like so. So it's gonna sit right here. I gotta bolt it up to here, and then once I bolt it there, we'll start assembly the bracket on the bottom side. And I may or may not have to jack up the truck from the hitch so I can have the suspension droop, but we'll see. I'll try and manhandle it a little bit. So let me bolt this up to both sides, and I will be right back with you guys. All right, got them all bolted up, and well, here's one thing that I don't like, because normally when I bolt things down and the bolts are vertical, I like to put the bolt facing downward. So this way, if the nut ever were to come off, at least the bolt will still be there, and it should still somewhat hold or what have you. This, if that nut comes loose, everything's just gonna fall apart. So I wish it was designed the other way around, but that's just me. However, this works. Why not? Anyways, Next thing we got to do is put the bottom brackets on and put the carriage bolts down in the cross members, or brackets I guess, around the axle tube. However, if you have a 04 to 08 model, you will not be putting this bracket on. But since I have a 09 to 14, I have a 2013 F150, I have to put these brackets on before you put them in, which they already have the studs welded on right here, the bolt studs, and then you just got to put a washer and a nylon lock nut, which I did put, well, you can see little Loctite, actually a lot of Loctite. Again, I had a bad experience one time, so I'm always putting Loctite on things. So let me put the bracket in, and then we'll start putting the bolts. Now it says for the passenger side, you have to use this doohickey instead of one of those guys over there. So they only give you 3 of those. So passenger side, you use one of these. So I'm gonna do the passenger and the driver's side, and I will be right back with you guys. All right, so got the bottom plates and brackets all bolted down, and they said to only tighten these down to 10 foot-pounds, so that's all I did. Not too tight, but it's all nice and snug in there. And I've seen in some videos and other things, I don't know if the instructions said it, but people have been cutting this bolt to trim it right here, this one. I just backed it off and tightened this down, and then I'm gonna put it all the way back in right now. So, I mean, it should be fine. If I have to cut it, I'll cut it, but whatever. I just didn't wanna have to cut it, so I just backed it out, and that worked. Next thing to do now is to bolt the air springs down to these plates on both sides, and we will be using these hex bolts, lock washer. That's not a lock washer, that's regular flat washer. There's a lock washer. So we will be using, where'd the other washer go that I just threw? There it is. So we'll be using these 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and it says to tighten it down to 20 foot-pounds. I don't know if I'll be able to get my foot-pound wrench in there, or pound-foot, whatever. But they just said make sure it's nice and snug, but not too tight, so we'll do that right now. And I did have to lift up the back of the truck, and some of you might be cringing right now. So I have my hitch, a stump that's actually very secure on the jack, holding up the back of the truck, and it's only up a couple inches, so I was able to get the brackets in underneath the air springs. So now I'm going to kind of lower down the truck a little bit while lining this up and putting the bolts in. So I'll be right back after I get that all set. All right, so just finished putting in the bottom bolts, and make sure you don't forget these roll pans, because otherwise you're gonna have to take off the bolts and redo everything. So just saying, not like I had to do that or anything, but yeah, so roll pans, bolts are all nice and snug. I got the heat shield here on the exhaust, and you just want to kind of bend it, make sure it's out of the way of everything and it's not going to rattle, and that you can still get the air line in over here. And then over here, you zip tie these all away from the air. And then over here, you just throw a zip tie around all these hoses and cables. Hoses, they're all hoses, so they're not anywhere near the air suspension or airbag, so it doesn't rub on them and cause issues down the road. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do, normally, if this is all you had and all you put were the Schrader valves with the hoses, you would cut the hose, put the lines in, and run them to the back or to the sides, wherever you want to put them. However, seeing as I'm going to be hooking up the compressor, and I don't want to have to keep cutting hoses and end up with not enough air line, I'm going to start installing the compressor up there somewhere on the frame. So I'm going to go start installing the air compressor, and then once all that is in, I'll start running all the air lines for the airbags and finish this all up. So let's go and start with the compressor now. All right, so I just unboxed everything from the compressor kit, and I didn't realize how tiny this thing is. I thought it was gonna be bigger, not the size of my hand. I pulled it out of the box, I'm like, it's so cute and little, which is a good thing. This way it can fit more places underneath. So we're gonna mount this first under the frame. I'm gonna go look for a spot, and then we gotta mount this near it as well, and then run all the wiring for this guy. Actually, yeah, because this has to get wired up, and then once everything is wired up and good to go, we'll start running the air hoses. So First, I'm gonna start mounting these guys to the frame, which I really don't want to drill into my frame because they give you these tapping screws, but if anything, I'll tap it, paint it really quick, and then screw it in. So I'll go do that right now. All right, so underneath the truck here, and I'm trying to find a place to put the compressor, and I've seen people put it on the driver's side frame rail of the F-150s of this generation. However, if you have the larger gas tank, you're gonna have an extra 11 gallons of tank. Sorry, I'm zooming in by accident here. You're gonna have 11 gallons of extra gas tank where you could mount the compressor and regulator right next to the evap, whatever this thing is with the fuel, but there's no room here. So you're thinking, all right, just throw it on the passenger side. Well, here's the exhaust. You're gonna be putting plastic and wiring near the exhaust. That's a no-no. The other thing is, well, let me just put it on the outside frame rail on the driver's side. Well, you could, there's somewhat room here, but that's the other thing. Your wheel is gonna be kicking everything up right on top of it. So where I live, I get snow, I get rain, I drive through mud sometimes. That all will be on the compressor and regulator. I don't want that either. So I'm back here where the spare wheel is gonna be, well, spare wheel and tire, and I'm trying to find a place for this dang compressor and regulator, and I realized I could put it right on the cross members of the bed frame. And so here's the spare tire. It mounts right up to this right here, and you can see where it was touching, but right here it's not going to. So this is where I'm going to mount the compressor, and the regulator is going to mount just on the back side of this, and they'll all be very close to the airbags, especially with the airlines. So the airlines can be short, and it doesn't have to work as hard to pump more air through the lines to the bags. It'll be right there, and luckily the wire seems just long enough to reach the front of the engine. So I already drilled the holes for the compressor. I'm only going to be mounting it with 3 holes, not 4, because this one does not have enough room. I painted the holes over here and for the regulator. Not that one, because that one's going to be my ground hole, so it has to be bare metal. But I'm going to throw some dielectric grease on it so it doesn't rust as quickly if it was just left bare like this. Because as you can probably already tell, my truck is starting to rust in a lot of spots, and I don't like it. However, it's the nature of the beast. So I'm gonna start mounting all this up, running the wiring, and I like this spot. I really like it. So if you guys are ever wondering, or if you mounted it somewhere else, let me know where you put it. But this is where I'm tucking it up away from everything. So all right, I'll quit talking. I'm gonna mount it up now that the paint is drying off, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. So this is how I have the compressor and the regulator set up, with the wiring all attached back here. That's connected right there. The ground I have right there with the relay, and the wiring starts to go down that way and then passes over with the wiring harness over the gas tank. And then it comes down along the wire harness here, and we can follow it pretty much all the way to the front of the engine bay, where I have it coming up along the wire harness into the engine bay. Up along here, as you can see right here, they're kind of tucked, kind of out of the way over here. They run along the fender well here, along here, and the red wire, I had to extend it right here. So this is where the red and black wire ended, and I had to extend them. So the red wire I extended underneath here to the yellow wire, which comes in under here. And I did have to go out and get this fuse tap because the one included in the kit was not working for me. So I had to go out and buy this specific fuse tap for the application. But this fuse is only on when the ignition is turned on. So that's there, that's all good. And the black wire, the ground, I had to extend all the way to the battery here. So mounting it way back underneath the spare tire, you definitely don't have enough wire, but if you know how to wire, which you kind of need to be able to do this project, and you have spare wire or you want to go pick up spare wire, I like having underneath the spare tire already. So it's all cleaned up. I broke these clips trying to get them out, so these will not be able to be reused. I have to get new ones, but that's not a big deal for right now. But otherwise, you can barely tell something has been added to this engine bay, except for like right here, which I might try and take off this bolt here and tuck it down below so it's even more unnoticeable. But now we just got to run the air lines, which will be awesome because I don't have to run them the length of the truck. I just have to run them from there to there, and then from there to there to there, and then to the Schrader valve like back here somewhere. So I'm gonna run the air lines really quick, and when I come back, we're gonna start testing the system and see if there's any air leaks. All right, just finished running all the air lines. So I got that one going to that one, going to the T-fitting, going to that one, and this one, there is I just dropped the remote, like a heat wrap thing that you want to make sure you put on the hose line over here, and then T-fitting goes to another T-fitting that goes to the regulator, and the other one goes to the Schrader valve that I just have tucked up over here because I don't want to drill into the bumper or the cover yet. I kind of figured it's for emergency use, so I just tucked it up away for now, so if I ever need to get to it, I know where it's at. So now that we have the remote, got the batteries put in it, I'm gonna go turn on the ignition and test the system and see if it works. All right, as you can hear, there's a leak coming out of here, but I got bigger issues. I have the remote here, and to sync the system, you're supposed to ground this yellow wire here while plugging it in. And then while you do that, press one of the buttons here. I've been doing that, and it's not syncing for whatever reason. So either I need to get new batteries for the remote or the remote's busted. So I'm gonna try and get new batteries and see what happens. But it's getting late and getting dark, so I'm probably gonna have to pick this up tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in a little bit once I figure out what's the issue here. All right, well, I just kind of packed everything up. It's getting dark out, as you can probably not tell because this camera actually does pretty well at low light. Yes, we still have our Christmas lights on, even though it's January, even though it's after Christmas, let's just say that. But I'm just gonna end the video here. That's pretty much how the whole install goes with the airlift, airbags, and wireless one compressor system. Now, as far as the remote and why it won't sync, I don't know. It might just be the batteries, like they may have died while sitting or something. I don't know. Dog, trying to talk here. So anyways, I'm gonna probably buy batteries tonight, see if that's what it is, and if it is, I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you guys updated. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you didn't, go ahead and give it a dislike, but let me know down below what I can improve on for future videos. And as always, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys later. Bye.